Start with Why. How Great Leaders Inspire Everyone to Take Action by Simon Sinek. Introduction. Hello and welcome. In this audiobook summary, we're diving deep into a concept that has the power to reshape not just your career, but your entire outlook on life. We're exploring Simon Sinek's groundbreaking book, Start with Why. How Great Leaders Inspire Everyone to Take Action. Together, we'll uncover the secret that separates the truly exceptional from the merely competent, and you'll discover a framework to find deeper meaning, inspire others, and achieve lasting success and fulfillment. Get ready to challenge your assumptions and perhaps find your own why. The guide on our journey, Simon Sinek and his impact. So, who is Simon Sinek, the mind behind this transformative idea? Simon Sinek is a British-American author and renowned inspirational speaker, often described as a visionary thinker. He rose to global prominence with his 2009 TED Talk, How Great Leaders Inspire Action, which is one of the most watched TED Talks of all time, viewed by tens of millions. This talk was the genesis of the book we're exploring today, Start with Why. Sinek isn't just a theorist. He has worked with a vast array of organizations, from small businesses to Fortune 100 companies, military leaders to government agencies, helping them transform their cultures and inspire action. His work focuses on understanding the hidden dynamics that make some individuals and organizations so influential and successful. Start with Why isn't just another business book. It's become a cornerstone for anyone interested in leadership, personal development, and finding true purpose. It challenges the conventional wisdom that what we do or how we do it are the most important questions, urging us instead to first ask why. This shift in perspective has had a profound impact, empowering countless people to lead more fulfilling lives and build more inspiring organizations. Are you ready to see how this applies to you? Let's begin. The world we often live in, a world without why. Picture yourself navigating a dense fog with a map that's blurry and incomplete. Sounds frustrating, right? Yet that's often how we operate. The trap of assumptions. Sinek kicks off by highlighting a fundamental human tendency. We make assumptions. We base our decisions on what we think we know, often from incomplete or even false information. He tells a compelling story where he describes a leader, and most assume he's talking about John F. Kennedy, only to reveal it's Adolf Hitler. The point? A small missing detail can change everything. For centuries, people believed the world was flat, and this perceived truth drastically limited exploration. It wasn't until that assumption was corrected that human behavior changed on a massive scale, leading to new trade routes and the exchange of ideas. Now consider this. How many of your current beliefs about success, about your capabilities, or about the world are based on incomplete maps? How many of your decisions are guided by assumptions you've never truly questioned? Sinek argues that without understanding the cause, even the right answers can lead us astray. We collect data, we seek advice, but if our initial premise, our understanding of why, is flawed, we're building on shaky ground. It's like the American car executives visiting a Japanese assembly line. They saw doors being fitted with rubber mallets to ensure a perfect fit. But in Japan, the doors fit perfectly because they were designed to fit from the start. The Americans were fixing a problem at the end. The Japanese engineered the desired outcome from the beginning. Which approach do you think leads to more sustainable success? The allure and pitfalls of manipulation. So, if assumptions can mislead us, how do most businesses and even individuals try to influence behavior? Sinek presents a stark reality. There are only two ways to influence human behavior. You can manipulate it, or you can inspire it. Now, manipulation isn't always as sinister as it sounds. It's a common tactic. Think about it. Dropping prices, running promotions, using fear. Buy this before it's too late. Peer pressure. Everyone's doing it. Or aspirational messages. Achieve your dreams with this. These tactics work. They can drive sales, get votes, and elicit desired actions. But here's the crucial part. Manipulations lead to transactions, not loyalty. Selling based on price is like a drug, Sinek says. The short-term gain is fantastic, but it's a hard habit to kick, often leading to a downward spiral where businesses become commodities. Promotions like 2 for 1 or free toy inside are common manipulations we often forget we're being subjected to. Fear, whether real or perceived, is arguably the most powerful manipulation, driving us away from something horrible. Aspirational messages tempt us towards something desirable, playing on our insecurities or lack of discipline. And peer pressure? It works because we fear we might be wrong if we don't follow the majority or the experts. Even innovation, when it's just adding new features, novelty, rather than changing the course of industries, becomes a form of manipulation. Think of how many toothpaste variations exist today, 32 from Colgate alone. Does this mean we're brushing our teeth more or better than in the 1970s when there were only 2 types? Probably not. It just creates more noise. The danger of all these manipulations is that they work, so they become the norm. But they don't breed loyalty. They often increase stress for both the buyer and seller. Repeat business is not the same as loyalty. Repeat business is when people do business with you multiple times. Loyalty is when people are willing to turn down a better product or price to continue doing business with you. Loyalty is not easily won. So if the world is often operating on flawed assumptions and relying on short-term manipulations, what's the alternative? Sinek introduces us to a more powerful, sustainable path. The alternative, starting with your inner compass. Imagine having a compass that always points true north, guiding every decision you make, every action you take. That's the power of understanding your why. The golden circle, unveiling your why, how, and what. Sinek's central framework is the golden circle. Picture 3 concentric circles. The outermost circle is what? Every organization and individual knows what they do. These are the products, services, or job functions. Easy to identify. The middle circle is how. Some know how they do what they do. These are the things that make them special or different, their unique selling propositions, proprietary processes. But the innermost circle, the core, is why. Very few people or organizations can clearly articulate why they do what they do. And by why, Sinek doesn't mean to make money. That's a result. Why is your purpose, your cause, your belief? Why does your organization exist? Why do you get out of bed in the morning? And crucially, why should anyone care? Most people and companies communicate from the outside in, from what to why. They tell you what they do, sometimes how they do it, and rarely why. But inspired leaders and organizations, Sinek discovered, think, act, and communicate from the inside out. They start with why. Let's take Apple, a company Sinek often uses as an example. If Apple were like everyone else, their marketing might say, "We make great computers. They're beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. Want to buy one?" Not very compelling, is it? But Apple actually communicates like this. Everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. And we happen to make great computers. Want to buy one? See the difference? It feels different. The second version connects on an emotional level. This leads to Sinek's powerful mantra. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. The what's, the products, the services, simply serve as tangible proof of the why. When you communicate your why, you tap into something much deeper than rational decision-making. What if discovering your why could revolutionize how you approach everything in your life, from your career to your relationships? The biology of why. It's not just opinion, it's science. Now here's where it gets fascinating. The golden circle isn't just a neat marketing concept, it's deeply rooted in human biology. If you look at a cross-section of the human brain, it mirrors the golden circle. The neocortex, our newest brain, corresponds to the what level. It's responsible for rational, analytical thought and language. The middle 2 sections, the limbic brain, correspond to the how and why. The limbic brain is responsible for all our feelings, like trust and loyalty, and for all human behavior and decision-making. But here's the kicker. The limbic brain has no capacity for language. This is why we sometimes struggle to explain our feelings or our gut decisions. Why did you marry your spouse? You might list rational reasons like, they're funny, they're smart, but the real reason often lies in how they make you feel, something much harder to articulate. That gut feeling that a decision is right, that's your limbic brain, your why at work. It's not actually your stomach. When companies communicate what they do first, they're speaking to our analytical neocortex. We can understand facts and features, but it doesn't drive behavior. But when they communicate from the inside out, starting with why, they're talking directly to the part of the brain that controls decision-making. The language part then helps us rationalize those gut decisions. Interesting, isn't it? This biological basis means that connecting with people on the level of why isn't just a good idea, it's how we are wired. Living in balance, the pillars of clarity, discipline, and consistency. Knowing your why is the start, but to truly inspire, Sinek emphasizes 3 crucial elements for keeping your golden circle in balance. First, clarity of why. You must be able to articulate why you do what you do, beyond just making money or selling products. If you don't know your why, how will anyone else? If a leader can't articulate the organization's why, how can employees be inspired? Second, discipline of how. Your hows are your values or guiding principles that bring your why to life. These aren't just nice-sounding nouns like integrity or innovation written on a wall. They must be actionable verbs. Not innovation, but look at the problem from a different angle. Not integrity, but always do the right thing. This discipline means holding yourself and your organization accountable to these principles, even when it's difficult. Third, consistency of what? Everything you say and do, your products, services, marketing, culture, hiring, must be consistent with your why. This is where authenticity happens. Authenticity isn't something you can just decide to be. It's the natural outcome when your why, hows, and whats are in alignment. People will see and hear without a shadow of a doubt what you believe. Sinek introduces a brilliant metaphor for this, the celery test. Imagine you get advice to buy M&Ms, rice milk, Oreo cookies, and celery for your business. If you buy them all, you spend a lot, and no one can see what you believe. But if your why is to do only things that are healthy, you'll only buy the rice milk and celery. The other advice isn't bad, it's just not good for you. Your why acts as a filter. Decisions become simpler, more efficient, and most importantly, your actions consistently demonstrate your beliefs, attracting others who believe what you believe. Are your daily actions passing your own celery test? Are they truly aligned with your deepest beliefs? Inspiring a following, trust, and tipping points. So you have your why, and you're living it with clarity, discipline, and consistency. How does this translate into inspiring others, into building a loyal following, or even creating a movement? The emergence of trust, the unseen force. Trust, Sinek explains, isn't built on checklists or rational arguments. It's a feeling. It emerges when we sense that another person or organization is driven by something other than their own self-gain. When we share values and beliefs with others, we form trust. This is primal. Our survival as a species depended on our ability to trust others within our community. Think about hiring. Do you just look for skills, or do you look for people who believe what you believe? Herb Kelleher, the legendary co-founder of Southwest Airlines, famously said, "You don't hire for skills, you hire for attitude. You can always teach skills." Sinek refines this. Hire people who are passionate for your why and whose attitude fits your culture. Ernest Shackleton, the Antarctic explorer, didn't advertise for men with minimum 5 years sailing experience. His ad read, "Men wanted for hazardous journey. Small wages, bitter cold, long months of complete darkness, constant danger, safe return doubtful, honor and recognition in case of success." And the only people who applied were those who read that and thought, "Sounds great." They were believers, they were good fits, and every single one of them survived an unimaginable ordeal because of that shared belief and trust. Consider the two stonemasons. One says, "I'm building a wall." The work is monotonous, backbreaking. The other, doing the exact same work, says, "I love my job, I'm building a cathedral." The second stonemason has a sense of purpose, a why, that transforms his experience and his dedication. Which one are you? Which one do you want on your team? Tipping points. How your why spreads like wildfire. Everett Rogers' law of diffusion of innovations explains how ideas spread. It breaks the population into innovators, 2.5%, early adopters, 13.5%, early majority, 34%, late majority, 34%, and laggards, 16%. To achieve mass market success, you can't just target the middle of this bell curve. The early majority won't try something until someone else, the early adopters, has tried it first and vouched for it. The tipping point, where an idea or product gains mass acceptance and growth, becomes almost automatic, typically happens after you penetrate that first 15 to 18% of the market, the innovators and early adopters. These are the people who don't just want what you have, they believe what you believe. They are drawn to your why for very personal reasons, and they become your most loyal advocates, spreading the word willingly. TiVo is a classic example of failing to understand this. They had a revolutionary product, great funding, and amazing brand recognition. It became a verb. But they marketed what it did. It pauses live TV, skips commercials, to the mass market, instead of why it existed, to the early adopters. The response from the practical-minded majority? I don't understand it, I don't need it, you're scaring me. They never achieved that tipping point because they didn't start with why. Contrast this with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He didn't send out 250,000 invitations for the March on Washington. There was no website. People showed up because they believed what he believed. He gave the I have a dream speech, not the I have a plan speech. He articulated a why that resonated so deeply that it became their cause. That's the power of starting with why. Are you trying to convince the skeptics with facts and features? Or are you focused on inspiring the believers with your why? The architecture of inspiration, bringing your why to life. Understanding your why and its power to build trust and create tipping points is one thing. But how do you structure an organization or even your own life to amplify this why? Why types and how types, the unbeatable partnership. Sinek explains that charisma, the kind that truly inspires, comes from clarity of why. Bill Gates, for example, isn't known for his high energy, but his unwavering belief in solving complex problems to empower people is deeply charismatic and inspiring. This isn't about energy, it's about conviction. The golden circle, when viewed three-dimensionally, becomes a cone representing an organization. At the very top, the point of the cone, is the why, usually embodied by the leader or founder. This is the visionary. Below this is the how level, comprising those inspired by the why who know how to build the systems and structures to bring that vision to life. And at the base is the what level, where the tangible products, services, and actions happen, visible to the outside world. Great achievements often stem from a partnership between a why type, the dreamer, the optimist, like Walt Disney or Steve Jobs, and how types, the realists, the builders who create the processes, like Roy Disney or Steve Wozniak. The why type imagines the destination. The how types find the route. One without the other often leads to either unrealized dreams or efficient but aimless activity. This synergy, built on deep trust, is what makes organizations truly great. Think about your own strengths. Are you more of a why type or a how type? And who are the complementary partners you need to bring your vision to life? Communicating your why. Making the intangible tangible. Because the why resides in the limbic brain, the part that controls feelings but not language, articulating it can be challenging. Just like trying to explain why you love someone, organizations often struggle to clearly communicate their core purpose. This, Sinek says, isn't a business problem, it's a biology problem. So how do we bridge this gap? We use symbols, stories, and metaphors. Marketing, branding, products and services, when done right, become tangible manifestations of the why. A logo, for instance, is just an image until it's infused with the meaning of a clear why. Think of the Harley-Davidson logo. People tattoo it on their bodies, some without even owning the product. That's because through years of clarity, discipline, and consistency, the logo has become a symbol of a belief system, a way for individuals to express who they are. It's no longer about Harley, it's about them. What symbols or stories are you using to communicate your why? Are your actions speaking louder than your words? And are they telling the right, consistent story? The perils of success. When your why becomes a whisper. It sounds counterintuitive, but often the biggest challenge an individual or organization faces is success itself. When your why goes fuzzy, the success trap. Many people who achieve great success, wealth, fame, market leadership, still don't feel successful. Sinek distinguishes between achievement, reaching a tangible goal, and success, a feeling or state of being, born from living your why. You can achieve a lot of what's, but if your why becomes fuzzy, that deep sense of success will elude you. This often happens as organizations grow. When small, the founder's passion and why are palpable. Decisions are made by gut. But as scale increases, systems and processes take over, and the focus can shift from why to simply managing what's and how's. This is the split. When what the organization does continues to grow, but the clarity of its why flatlines or diminishes. The passion fades, inspiration wanes, and work can become just a job. Sam Walton founded Walmart with a clear why: to serve people, to look after them so they would look after Walmart. But after his death, Sinek argues, Walmart's why went fuzzy. The focus shifted from serving people to simply low prices, a how that became a what, driven by financial metrics. The result? A company once beloved became vilified, despite its continued financial achievements. They lost the feeling of why. What gets measured gets done, Sinek reminds us. If you only measure profit, output, or market share, the what's, you'll optimize for those, often at the expense of your why. Bridgeport Financial, a debt collection agency, decided to measure something different. Instead of bonusing collectors on money retrieved, they bonused them on how many thank you cards they sent out to debtors after respectful conversations. The result? They collected 300% more than the industry average, and clients often returned to do more business with the original companies. They measured their why, that everyone deserves to be listened to, and their what's flourished. Have you ever achieved a major goal only to feel strangely empty afterward? Could a fuzzy why be the culprit? Rediscovering and living your why. The path to lasting fulfillment. If your why can go fuzzy, how do you find it or rediscover it and ensure it remains your guiding light? Finding your why, a journey of discovery, not invention. Your why, Sinek explains, doesn't come from looking ahead at what you want to achieve. It's not born from market research or extensive interviews. It comes from looking in the completely opposite direction, your past. Finding your why is a process of discovery, like an archaeologist unearthing a hidden treasure. It's rooted in your upbringing, your life experiences, the moments that shaped you. Apple's why, to challenge the status quo and empower individuals, was forged in the rebellious counterculture of 1960s and 70s Northern California, where Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak grew up. Sinek himself shares his personal journey. After hitting rock bottom in his own business, despite early achievements, he realized he had forgotten why he started. His discovery? His why was to inspire people to do the things that inspire them. This clarity became his compass. What are the recurring themes, passions, and peak experiences in your own life story? The clues to your why are likely hidden there. The ultimate competition, being better than yourself. Sinek concludes with a powerful story about Ben Coman, a high school cross-country runner with cerebral palsy. Ben is always the slowest, he often falls, but he never quits. What's remarkable isn't just his perseverance. It's what happens when everyone else finishes their race. They all come back to run with Ben, to support him, to help him finish. The profound lesson? When you compete against everyone else, no one wants to help you. But when you compete against yourself, everyone wants to help you. Ben runs to beat his own previous times, to push his own limits, driven by his internal why. Imagine if we approached our work, our lives, with this mindset. What if our goal was simply to be better than we were yesterday? To contribute to something larger than ourselves, driven by our clear why, rather than by a need to outperform others. When you operate from your why, Sinek suggests, decisions become simpler, loyalty deepens, trust becomes the norm, and innovation thrives. You're not just building a business or a career, you're leading a movement, even if it's just within your own life. Your turn to lead with why. We've journeyed through the core of Start with Why, from understanding the traps of a why-less world to uncovering the power of the golden circle, the biology behind it, and the ways to build trust and inspire movements. We've seen how success can make our why fuzzy, and how rediscovering it is a journey into our past. Now, it's time for a quick check-in to see what resonated most with you from this audiobook summary. First, think about the golden circle. Why, how, what. What's one immediate step you can take this week to gain more clarity on your personal or professional why? Remember the story of the two stonemasons, one building a wall, the other a cathedral? How can reframing your current tasks through the lens of a larger why change your experience and motivation? The celery test was a simple filter for decision-making. What's one decision you're facing right now where applying your why, like the celery filter, could bring instant clarity? And finally, considering Ben Coleman's story, what would change for you if your primary competition became the person you were yesterday rather than those around you? These questions aren't just for reflection, they are prompts for action. Simon Sinek's message is a powerful one. When you know your why, you have a filter for your decisions, a source of inspiration, and a path to deeper fulfillment. The work we do, the lives we lead, become expressions of something far greater than ourselves. So don't let this be just another interesting summary. Your journey to a more purposeful life, a more inspiring leadership style, starts now. Embrace your why, communicate it with passion, and watch how you begin to inspire not only yourself but everyone around you. The world is waiting for what you have to offer, starting with your why. Keep exploring, keep growing, and keep inspiring.